Billy Joe Tolliver. He's joining us now here on Off the Bench, ESPN New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Alexandria. Thank you very much, sir. Happy belated Father's Day.
Hey, thank you. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Well, man. Doing well.
Good.
Thanks for coming on.
I know you have a ton of football stories, and we want to hear all of them. But the one that we want to start with was the LSU practice that you saw last summer, and it seems like you were telling anybody that would listen that this team was going to win the national championship.
Yeah, there were a few people that after, especially all the guys there at University Club, Brian Lanois and those guys. They all heard I was going down, and I watched practice and got done. And the first person that I talked to was BG, of course, and I just told him, I said, if they're not the best team in the country, and if there's anybody that can beat them, it'll be somebody that plays on Sunday. Because I just think they'll win national championship. They're too strong, too deep offensively, and defense was going to be, on the edges as far as the secondary and things like that. They were going to be pretty strong. Just the pass rush wasn't going to be there, but the effort was always going to be there.
What did you see from Burrow? Because a lot of people still had question marks about Burrow, like through the first couple of weeks of the season. What did you see about him last summer that made you believe that he was the guy that could get it done?
Well, it wasn't just last summer. It goes into the year before. Let me see how you're allowed to say this nowadays. Let's just say you saw just miles and miles of guts with the kid. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing that stuck out the year before the national championship. Saw a guy who was a natural leader, who, just hung in there. And everybody was talking about, oh, he's not very good, this, that, and the other. Well, not what I was seeing. I saw a decision maker, a guy who could get it in and out of his hands to guys that could make plays with it. And then saw a guy who would hang in there for his teammates. And, over the years of this game, guys get behind that in the locker room. And, if your quarterback's the toughest guy on the football team, there's a pretty good chance you're going to go a long way.
You played 11 years in the league. How do you see his game translating to the next level?
Well, I think that, just the things that he did in this last year, the speed at which he processed and got the ball out of his hand and dealt in the system they were in, I think it suits him. He'll be really prepared for the NFL. I think he's a heck of a player, and he's going to do fine. I've always been a fan of his since the first time I got to scout him, and I don't think anything's going to change once he gets to the NFL.
Talking to Billy Joe Tolliver here on Off the Bench. Billy, we need to get you to watch a practice from this year's team and then get you back here on Off the Bench to report, see what you think about Myles replacing Burrow. What in your experience, can you kind of put it into words? Like what kind of challenge is awaiting Myles Brennan as someone who's played that position, having to replace someone like Joe Burrow?
Well, Myles, he just has to go into it trying to be the best Myles Brennan instead of the next, what can I do that's Joe Burrow? He can only be who he can be. And he doesn't need to put any added pressure on himself and go out there and try to do the things that he's not the guy, that he doesn't do. But Myles is a good player. Let's face facts on the deal. You're not talking about, the University of the Sisters of the Poor here.
Yeah.
You're talking about LSU, and they bring talent in. It's not like, this guy just, fell out of a turnip truck and, he knows what he's doing. He's a good talent. He's athletic. He'll be fine. But he just can't ever get caught in the trap that, if things don't go well early while he's gaining more and more experience with each snap, getting reps in the pocket, you just can't believe what's being, said and written about you, good or bad. You've got to just go out there and be you. And if you're going to learn anything from Joe Burrow, learn that. He just went out and he was who he was and tried to own that locker room.
Can you talk about how the responsibility of the quarterback has it changed, in your opinion, at the college and professional level since you played it last in 2000?
Well, the responsibility hasn't, just the game has. You always had the same responsibilities. You got to go in there and lead your team. You've got to, what's your number one job? Win football games. Mm-hmm. Come up big on third down. Those are the things that you've got to do. But as far as the game side of it goes, there's just so many different things going on, especially in the NFL. Things are just college. You've got the 20-hour rule, which was the most impressive thing I saw when I went to LSU's practice, was just watching a coach and a staff and a football team who they owned the team. It was the players' team. You could tell it. And it's like when you go buy your kid a car. It's your kid's car, but you pay for it. You bought it. Mm-hmm. And, that was Coach O's role. He bought the car and he paid for it. And here we go. And I don't want to hear anybody talk about, Coach O's buying cars for players. God, this world's driving me crazy with that stuff. But Coach O didn't buy anybody cars. It's just an analogy. But and then the players, just to watch practice and watch the work that they put in and the reps they got in, because there was not a whole lot of coaching done on the field. It was the coaching was done in the classroom and things, and they just. And again, it goes back to being LSU. Yeah. If you got a kid in there who keeps making mental errors on the football field, you just roll another stud in there. He will get Wally Pip, Lou Gehrig right out of the game. Mm-hmm. But just watching the efficiency and how the team took ownership and just, this is our team. We're going to hold each other accountable. We believe in each other when we're going to go get it. And they just worked hard. You could see it. And it was so efficient. And I was impressed by how Coach O had all that stuff organized and the assistant coaches and how everything just melded together. And, in a 20-hour rule, back to your original question, in a 20-hour rule, it's hard to do that. It's hard to get all those reps. And, so that's different than when I played. Because, we were there, about 24/7 if we wanted to be.
Mm-hmm. Talking to Billy Joe Tolliver here on Off the Bench. So not only, probably everybody listening knows, but not only is Billy Joe an incredible football player, incredible golfer as well. You've won multiple tournaments. What is a story that you can give us on air from the golf course? Like maybe like somebody that you were most starstruck by or funniest interaction?
We're not going to get into any Michael Jordan story.
No, look, hey, look, I'm just
I told
teasing
T-Bob you were going to tell him that went off the air.
I'm teasing. I'm just saying, outside of Michael, like, sure, you played that much golf. Has there ever been a moment where you just been like, whoa, look at that, or anything? Just what's some of your favorite golfing memories?
Well, there's so many and most of them weren't during tournaments. It was just when the guys were out playing. Having adult beverages and doing things like that. But, I don't know. It's just, there's so many stories of football and golf and everything else. But, I'm a kid that came from Boyd, Texas, 800 people in town, and wow, a 2A school. And, years later, you're sitting there rubbing shoulders with the likes of Dan Marino and John Elway and Michael Jordan and Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux and they're friends of mine. It's just it's something that I surely didn't deserve, but it was a good road and enjoyable and just a great group of people and just lifelong friends now.
4-time winner of the American Century Celebrity Golf Championship, Billy Joe Tolliver, joining us here on off the bench. How many holes of golf do you play a day?
With this virus, with the quarantine and all that stuff, we were playing quite a bit. But I'm too old now. 18 holes is plenty for me. I might be able to squeeze in 27, but especially this in the summertime like this, I can get more in the summer than I can in the winter because fat don't cramp.
Fat don't cramp.
You see.
My co-host, his dad, obviously Bobby Hebert, who I believe you spent a season with.
Yeah, Bob, I didn't get a chance to holler at you.
Yeah, man, it's good to talk to you.
Not to interrupt you, but I'm going to tell you a story about his dad.
That's where we were going. That's
where we're
perfect.
going.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So, Bobby, he's cut off, and you can barely understand him. I mean, all the people in Louisiana can understand him, but back then I was from Texas. I didn't. Nobody on the team could understand him, so you had to translate when he called Churty Tree Belly. And everybody said, what's a Churty Tree? No, it's 33, guys. Don't worry about that. But they play at Tampa Bay, and Bobby takes off running over there in the corner. And I will tell you this much. He's one of the toughest dudes I ever played with. Yeah. But he takes off running, and they hit him, and he's crawling around on the ground. And everybody's like, what's going on, Bobby? We're running down there. Bobby, you all right? And he looks up, and he got his teeth knocked out. And he's going, my tooth is. I got to find my tooth. And, of course, guy got his tooth knocked out, and he's looking for it.
Yeah, to this day, he has 3 fakes up front. And there is nothing more shocking in terms of changing how a person looks than when their 3 front teeth fall out. I mean, it just immediately, he looks wild.
That guy, he took a beating in Houston. We went down there, we're running that run and shoot, and this is back when, that defense, Buddy Ryan was coach. They would come get you, and he hated the run and shoot anyway. So all he wanted to do was beat the quarterback up every time. And Bobby's in there, and I mean, just physically tough SOB. He just. I don't know what you can say on ESPN radio, so I'm trying to keep it clean.
You're good.
But that's why I'm not giving many stories or anything. I got to feel this out first. But so Bobby's in there, and I mean, if we threw it 55 times, he got hit 58 times. It didn't matter. They're just bringing it, and he's thrown. We started calling him Little Lotto because he picked 4. And then he went big lotto because he picked 6. So he got 6 of them that day. But I tell him in the 4th quarter, and I don't know where my mind was. I was out of my mind apparently because they're beating the living piss out of him. And I said, Bobby, man, this game's over. Why don't you knock off and let me come in and finish this thing out, man? They're beating the piss out of you out there. Now, it'd been smart for me to just say, hey, go ahead and finish this out. I don't want to go get hit. But, I mean, he was just taking a pounding. And he goes, and he just threw that last pick, and he goes, man, I'll tell you what, Red, if it hadn't been for that last pick, I'd let you do it. But I'm going to finish this thing. He goes, I started it, I'm going to finish it. It's these garbage idiots. If I throw 10 interceptions, it doesn't matter.
Thank you.
It wasn't, man. It wasn't because he was making bad throws. It was just the amount of pressure. And
Buddy Ryan, dude.
Buddy Ryan, man.
That's it.
Yeah, and he was. But, I mean, I just always respected him because he just said, no, I'm hanging out. I'm in. This is my job. I'm going to go play, and they can beat me all they want to.
This is exactly what we wanted, man. Stories and laughter. We appreciate it very much. We'll do it again soon. Hit them straight today.
You got it, guys. Y'all take care.
Yes, sir.
Thanks so much, Billy.
There he is, Billy Joe Tolliver, checking in this morning.